Hey everyone, and welcome to Lo Kya Kahenge. And today we're just gonna jump right into it. All right. So today we're gonna be talking about Desi drama. This is our 4th episode, and I cannot believe it. My name is Taha, and of course, joining me are the awesome Gashar sisters. We got Minahil
Hi.
and Kinza.
Hi.
How are we doing today?
So good. How are you?
I'm well. What about you?
Thank you for
Good.
that fantastic introduction.
Super
I tried.
excited for the 4th episode, which is crazy.
Yeah. And just to give you a little bit of context, while we go ahead and be proud of ourselves because we all deserve it, we were just discussing upcoming plans for the year, and we couldn't believe that this is already our 4th, going on to 5th podcast episode. And just wanted to say thank you to both my amazing team partners sitting right next to me right here, and of course to all the people who have supported us from the start and keep on listening.
Honestly, the response has been so great, Kinza. From anywhere from the first episode to this one, I mean, people have just been listening in. People have been interested. People have been asking me what other platforms we could get on.
Right.
If you weren't aware, we are now on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, well, that's awkward. But the thing is, if you're listening on our website, we're also available on Spotify. And a few of the things that we discussed are, surrounding merch and different things, goals we want to set for this year.
Exactly.
Can we believe that it's 2020? I mean, January is almost ending, and I'm just I can't keep up. What do you think, Manal?
I think that it's been 19 days ever since the year started, and I don't even know what I've been doing. But like we were discussing before, we have a lot of fun plans coming up, more exciting topics, and other exciting things.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say first and foremost, I know we're going through announcements, but I just really want to say something, and that's I'm very happy with the team that that God has blessed me within this podcast, and I'm happy to start 2020 with you guys.
Same
Us
here.
too.
I couldn't have chosen a cooler team.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you.
Very same. And another thing that we want to point out as we were talking is that if you guys have people that you would like us to have guests as on the show, it would be amazing. We kind of have a couple of names in mind to start with, but our website is always open for comments on that. So
And feedback, and suggestions.
Yeah, of course. Always look at our community board, because we have a section there where you can suggest different ideas for us. Now that does just it's not limited to episodes. You can also maybe give a suggestion about a guest, or maybe someone who wants to be on the podcast
Right.
as well.
exactly.
Okay.
And refer a friend.
Refer a friend. Absolutely. Well, that's it for announcements, guys. Thank you so much for all your continued support, and we hope that we see more of it. And if not the same amount, I mean, that's fine too, because
Yeah.
it's been so overwhelming. But yeah, no, we look forward to hearing from you guys. So today we're talking about drama. Now, the title of this episode is called Desi Drama. First of all, for the viewers that are listening that aren't from South Asian descent, Desi means people from the subcontinent of India, meaning areas surrounding South Asia, meaning Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, those areas over there. And that's what Desi refers to, but the drama aspect refers to literally all the things that go wrong within that culture, especially socially, because that's what it's referring to. It's also a play on words, because if we say Desi drama in a Desi family, in a South Asian family, it can also mean a soap opera or a TV show.
Right.
It's kind of like a play on words to say
Right.
Desi dramas. So
Which is very filled with drama if you ever see one.
absolutely, and they're kind of based on what we're talking about
Yeah.
today.
Oh, they fully are. They're very entertaining. I see those when I go over to my grandparents' house, and I cannot move from in front of the TV because they're so funny, and I can't believe what I'm watching. But anyway,
Absolutely.
yes.
In recent years, they've gotten better, though. I mean, the clothing, the
Right.
music, the topics that they're bringing up are pretty much the things that we're covering. I mean,
Right.
I've seen a few that are just
Right.
really good. Some
Yeah.
Pakistani drama that are just
There's no more special effects like dun dun dun.
yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
funny.
And another tidbit, that when we say drame, that's the plural word that we just kind of made up in our culture. I mean, it's not really like an English thing where it's like dramas. We just say drame.
Right.
So just keep that in mind if we use that word as well. So we're going to jump into the real life dramas within our culture. And the first one is going to be about competition and jealousy.
Where to start?
I have no idea. Take the wheel.
I think that, and we might have touched on this, but the cool part about this podcast is that not just we relate to it, but we've heard and we've had listeners from other cultures relate to it as well. So I think that a lot that we cover today is just also drama in general. Sometimes that human beings, inflict upon each other. Jealousy and competition. Unfortunately, that there's a lot of stuff that goes about, in our culture that depends heavily on, like, look at what X's son has. Look at the job that, he got or she got. Why don't you have it? Things like that make it so hard for an individual to be who they are or who they can become, and leaving no space for exploration about what that personality can be, and that adds to what we're calling Desi drama. And I know that this is a very, like, kind of, funny or ironic kind of name for it, but the topics that are covered under this umbrella are so serious. And yeah, being jealous of one another, not being able to be happy for one another, huge problems that add to, like, hatred and unfortunately, ill will towards other people. And oftentimes your own blood, right? It could be your cousin, it could be, some uncle's, I don't know, fourth kid. But unfortunately, it all becomes like a thing of, I have to do better than this person. I have to get a better job. I have to get a better car, or else, like, people will say, "Log kya kahenge?" People will say, "Oh, that you're not good enough. Look at X, Y, and Z." And how many relationships get broken, sisters and turn on their sisters, or brothers on their brothers, just for this. There are parts in Pakistan that I've heard, due to all this jealousy being fueled by families, and this really toxic culture being the case for decades, they've killed one another over these things.
We've heard stories.
They've killed one another, their own blood. So it's awful. It's awful. Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case.
I agree.
Yeah.
So the other part of jealousy and competition is comparison, and I think that comes to people naturally when it's like, okay, I'm going to compare to, well, they don't make like this intention, however, but I've seen this pattern where it's like, I'm not like this person, or I am like this person, therefore I'm better, or therefore I'm worse. There is such a thing as a healthy competition, and that's the competition within yourself.
Right.
To who you were last week, to who you were when you were in high school, or whatever, or who you were yesterday, compared to who you were yesterday, instead of comparing to the other person. Because remember, if that comparison shows, you might be hurting somebody unintentionally.
Yeah.
And it can go a very long way. It can go into self-harm. It can go into self-esteem issues. So when you're trying to compare, I suggest, like, from a human being to a human being, you should only be comparing to yourself.
Yeah.
And then a healthy competition is one that is full of mutual respect and mutual agreement. Like, you both know you're competing with each other. What ends up happening in our extended families from this culture, especially now, this is an intercultural topic. However, in our culture, because we have the scope, we're going to discuss within that boundary as for our examples, when we use examples. And an example that I could think of is that in extended families, like, we compete with each other without even knowing it, and we find out in the worst of times.
Right.
It's like somebody's going through something, and you're figuring out that, like, every davat, every party that you go to, there is this topic of, my son has this career in this amount of years and your son doesn't. You're not raising kids like I raise kids. Isn't that bag from last season? Anything down to, like, the things that you're wearing. I mean, it can go from career to the purse to the amount of salt in the food.
Right.
Yeah. And going off of comparison and jealousy, I think it's really sad, because say, like, something good happens to a person, like they get a job or whatever, something good in their life, but then they choose not to share it with their families. or extended families because they fear that they're not going to be happy for them or they're going to have an ill will for them. So they're like, okay, I'll just keep it to myself, which is just sad because why wouldn't you want to share good news with someone, especially your family? Another thing, I think this is more within our culture, but joint families, I feel like, so people living together, so like brothers and brothers living together, but then they're having their own family. I think comparison and jealousy in that situation is so huge because you're living in the same house, and then you're going to separate rooms, but you know what's going on in like the other person's life, the other family's life so much, and that creates so many problems.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about not being happy for one another, and that stems from that jealousy aspect, that fear that if I share some good news, someone else is going to not be happy for me. But the other side of it is, not only is one person not going to be happy for you, but there's a possibility that the other person is going to be like, instead of taking you as an inspiration or maybe help, they're going to be like, oh, they have it, why can't I?
Yeah.
Right.
Or oh, I wish ill will upon them because I can't get it, but they got it.
Yeah.
Or they received such award or such thing or such career, but I didn't. It's always comparing, and it always, it trickles down to this one insecurity.
Yeah.
Right. And people might say that ill will doesn't do anything, but I feel like it definitely does. And it's not a matter of if you believe in it or not, but I think that just like vibes, and
so energies,
energy. Like if somebody is looking at you and they're like, oh, like so jealous, and they're like wishing all those bad wishes upon you, then I think that really, really affects your life. I think it does.
I think so too. I mean, I don't really believe in the whole like nazar, evil eye thing, because I believe that it's a superstition. However, I am a big proponent of the energies that you give out into the universe. So like if you put out good, you're gonna get good back, or
Right.
people around you're gonna get good back. But if you put out ill will, you're gonna get ill will back. I don't think it's, I mean, like, I think there's a lot of luck and situations involved too. Like, scientifically speaking, like
Right.
if you, the things that happen to you and the people around you definitely shape who you are and the moods that you're in, right? So you're not projecting as much. So
Right.
that kind of shows the bad vibes, bad energies that we're talking about, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So, it really is, it comes down to security within the self and security within yourself when somebody else succeeds.
Yes.
Right.
Be happy for the other person.
Yeah. Don't add to the drama.
Honestly.
Don't add to the drama. Yeah, because the worst part is like, if a family is hating on, their brother or whatever. If a brother is hating on another brother, the thing is that their future generations, not knowing even the story, they will hate on them
Absolutely.
as well, just because, oh, like my dad hates him, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate him. Like it
we're
just,
not allowed to talk about this person in our house.
exactly. It goes on for generations and generations. It just never stops. The drama never stops, and that's crazy.
And the first step of that is that all that hate becomes gossip.
exactly.
And then that gossip comes out in some way.
Yeah.
Either it's somebody projecting or displacing their anger, and it becomes drama. Then it becomes
Yeah.
the real show. It all pops. Because remember, people always say the little things don't matter. They add up.
Yeah.
They add up. They start from gossip. They start from, oh my God, was that purse from last season? Or did you already wear that before?
Yeah.
And it adds up, and it creates that drama cycle.
Yeah.
And then the kids learn from it, and it's just a mess.
And what kind of brain space do you actually have left to contribute anything to the world? That's
Anything
that's
real.
my
There's no
Yeah.
brain space because everyone thinks they're right.
right. Yep. And unfortunately, that going off of what you said, not being able to share what's going on in your life or thinking that the entire weight of the world and the responsibilities are on you,
Mhm.
and that if you ask somebody, that's a sign of weakness, or if you see that a family member is doing well, maybe looking at it, instead of looking at it in a way of like, oh my God, I cannot believe she or he figured it out, before I did. Instead of looking at it like that, maybe say, oh, they already figured it out. Maybe they made mistakes along the way that I can learn from without making them.
Wow. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Maybe I should ask for help.
Mhm.
Maybe I should say that, oh, you spend all this time. If it took you like 30 days to do it, maybe it takes me like 10. We just don't see these as opportunities. We see this as, competition and jealousy. We're thinking that we are each other's worst enemies, and that is not the truth.
That's not the truth.
And then we have the audacity to actually complain about if, other cultures are doing well, let's say, or, other, everything is one thing that adds to Desi drama is that everything bad happens to Pakistan or Pakistanis. That is not the truth.
Such a misconception.
Yeah, even I mean, like, look at this. I've heard this so many times. It's like, oh, back in India, it wasn't like this. Oh, if we were in Bangladesh, this would be different.
Yeah.
Now that we're here, oh, we should definitely apply the same thing back home. I'm like, yeah, but figure out your own family stuff first before you try to solve an entire nation's problems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it becomes like this huge deal.
Yeah, because look at yourself, right? Look at yourself. It all starts within yourself.
It all starts within yourself.
And unfortunately, like, if like a mom or dad or auntie or uncle, are constantly, saying, we just got a phone call yesterday that said, yeah, his oldest son is a doctor, his second son is a doctor, his third son is an engineer, and now the last two are also becoming doctors and engineers.
You missed one step.
I did.
There's a son and a daughter, and they're becoming the same kind of doctors, going to the same school. And it's just like, what?
and just to add to that, there's a youngest son who wants to become a singer, and nobody talks to him.
No.
Because he doesn't want to pursue. And that becomes a drama.
Right.
आपके बेटे तो, and I'll translate in a second, I'm sorry. आपके बेटे तो अदाकार बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. हमारे बेटे तो डॉक्टर MD बन रहा है. Your son's trying to become a singer, but guess what? My son's become... Like, why do we have to talk about that? Well, who cares if your son's becoming a doctor? He should be passionate about becoming a doctor.
Right.
Because if he's a good doctor, he's going to compare to who he was yesterday.
Right.
He's going to catch himself in his mistakes.
Yeah.
He's not going to talk about other people. He's there for the well-being of others. The singer person, guess what? They might be extremely talented. This is their self-care. This is their talent. This is their hobby. Let them do it. And I think one thing that, especially in our culture, and using this as an example, is that we are not proud of our like sons and daughters and our cousins. We're not proud enough because there's a language barrier there. Pride in Urdu and Hindi means more so ego than it means being happy for someone or being satisfied with somebody's successes.
Right.
So what it becomes is like when you see an argument between an immigrant family and like, first generation or third generation, and you see the parent and the offsprings like arguing, the first thing that they say usually is, and I find this to be very true, is you weren't proud of me growing up, or you weren't proud of what I chose as a career. And that becomes an issue of self-esteem. It's like, I have to stand there and prove myself, prove my worth, because I'm the middle child or I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
And it becomes this really stressful situation. And I guess that's where also the drama starts too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gets passed on to their children and then, their children. But I hope that somewhere along the way, people are smart to realize that, no, we should allow people to have the space to not be compared to somebody, to not infuse jealousy, this bad green monster, and, kind of, because imagine, like, if they did not have to stress about it so much, maybe they would take that time and energy and put it towards something, becoming that better person that you are proud of and you support.
If we had support, I feel like we wouldn't be so worried about about what other people are going to think about us.
Right.
When we are so on edge about how people are going to judge us, we're not true to ourselves. And then when we're not true to ourselves, that's what stems problems, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I loved what you said before, is that like, it could be the bag that you're carrying for the day or the shoes you're wearing for the day, to all the way to like, oh my God, like the dollar amount that you make, or, you work, or the company that you work at every day, or the house you have, or the car you have, unfortunately. And the one thing that I'm learning as I'm growing up is that literally, adulthood is a lie. Nobody has it figured out. They just have a different set of challenges at every age range that you have to figure out. And unfortunately, adults are like really insecure themselves. This is why, Desi drama stems in the first place. It's because they project, I think we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
They project these doubts and like these, insecurities on their kids or like other people's kids, which is awful.
Yeah. Or they're like, their nieces, their nephews, like all of that. I feel like that's a big thing. Like if somebody is if an older person is insecure about something, they will project it towards
Yes.
and if they can't on their own kids, they will most definitely project it towards others' kids.
And referring to like our toxic masculinity episode, that's a factor in it as well, because if it's a male figure, they're more concerned, okay, if I talk about my problem, it will be a threat to my manhood.
Right.
Just a little tidbit there. But it's a big contributor.
Yeah.
How do we move into promoting self-worth as the main metric for
I know.
And
I like that you use the word metric, because we really do carry around these rulers.
Yeah.
And it's like these rulers are causing problems.
Yeah.
You're burnt out, you lack self-care, and you have very stressful situations happen in your life, and then suddenly you're thrown this bone at a party, where party usually means like supposed to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
Or everyone's eating, everyone's drinking coffee, chai, or whatever, and we're chilling, and then suddenly you hear this auntie, start to say these weird like comparative things, and you're just like, I want to explode right now. Like, I want to let all my frustration out.
Yeah.
Because you're threatening everything that I believed in.
Yeah. And unfortunately, instead of it being we don't have these rare occasions or times to connect with one another anyway. Instead of these being moments of connection and bonding, it becomes the opposite. It's like, how fast can I get away from this?
And that's when it becomes a soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Drama.
Exactly.
Plural.
You're right.
This and this daughters didn't show up to the dinner.
Yeah.
If you did, why were you?
We're not important enough. It's not about you.
No.
She's doing homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Get out of your room right now. There's guests over. I'm working on SATs. Doesn't matter, because we're concerned about log kya kahenge.
Yeah.
We're concerned about our izzat, or our respect or reputation.
Yeah. And it's like, she usne aake mujhe like hello nahi kiya. She didn't come out and say hi to me. Meanwhile,
and it becomes a drama.
Yeah, she could be like, she or he or whoever could be like in their room, literally tired or depressed or sad or just not wanting to get out of bed. But
you can't be brown and depressed. What are you talking about?
but no, outside it's like, she didn't come say hi to me. Like my kids, like they say hi to everybody. So
and I like that you said that, because that's a comparison aspect.
Yeah.
That, no, but my kids say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
No. First of all, you're wasting a lot of time by having these like really weird fluff conversations that don't go anywhere. The idea of a conversation is that it has a beginning, middle, and end, right? When it comes to drama talk or like these weird comparisons, it's only a beginning.
Yeah.
There is no middle and end.
No.
Yeah.
There is no conclusion.
I like that fluff conversation.
It's a fluff conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, their daughter, they do this. Okay, and your point, what are we getting at?
Exactly.
Which is why we end up being really unproductive. And then it's another cycle of complaining about, oh my God, why can't we as a society or a culture figure out X, Y, or Z? Well, if we had just promoted self-worth and self-love from the beginning, maybe that wouldn't be such a big issue.
Absolutely. And we never stop growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do love about what's happening with, kids our age or young adults our age is, we're realizing that more and more. We are putting our foot down when somebody says, or ridicule somebody's like last season outfit or a bag. You can still see that going on, obviously, which is why we're here in the first place. But, I think that it's a generational change that I'm really eager to see be more commonplace. And I'm happy to be part of that conversation. I will give you my example. I am so busy at all times that, to me, I commute Taha knows this and Nahal knows this too, actually. My commute is 2 hours one way and I have 20 minutes to get ready. And so for me, getting dressed and everything like that, literally means that I have to look presentable and, get on and get ready to take on the world for the day. And then there are people, right? And actually I will commend two sides. Minahal is the opposite. She takes her time to get ready every morning. We both are amazing at what we do. Doesn't necessarily matter that she loves taking the time to get dressed while I view it as something I have to do in the day, right? Meanwhile, you will not believe it. And again, look at me, I'm comparing, but not really. I'm actually saying
doing
that
negative.
there's two.
Yeah.
There's two sides to this.
But you don't mean harm by it.
I do not. I actually applaud because when she's done, she looks amazing, because you can see the level of detail that went in there. And that's awesome. But then for me, who has to, who doesn't, for me, getting dressed in like, a Vogue ready way is not the way to go every morning. Doesn't mean that I'm open to, people's sarcasm and, pointing fingers and adding comments saying, maybe she didn't really, take time today. Maybe if you had done this or that. And honestly, I've gotten that. I've gotten the stares, I've gotten everything. But I have to take a pause here and say that, my work and what the metrics that I define myself by, are not affected by somebody saying that because I didn't dress up to what I think are their standards, and I think that this is where, as a society, we need to understand that what makes up a person is not what's on the outside. It is really what's on the inside. And that is such a cliche, but I don't care because I've had tons of aunties and uncles come up to me and say, beta, kuch behtar pehan liya hota, meaning, hey,
You
child,
could have dressed up
you could have
better,
dressed up
whatever
better,
that means. Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't really, like, you are more interested, and honestly, and full disclosure here, anybody who's listening to from my family, okay? But like, I've stopped talking to aunties and uncles when they, segue into this sort of conversation.
Or stick their
Yeah.
nose in that conversation. Yeah.
I either like shut them up and be like, I actually said to one auntie, I said, I'm happy the way I am, because she was commenting commenting on the way of like, on my weight and what I was wearing, and she said, and she was like, aren't you a little like healthier since I last saw you? And I was like, I'm happy the way that I am, and I guess the auntie hadn't like been told that before, but then she was like, she didn't say a word.
And you know why? And I kind of know who you're talking about, and I don't know if I should dig deeper into this, but going back to what we were talking about before, like comparison, I feel like she herself has seen her daughter, I guess, be the complete opposite of whatever she was trying to say that my sister was. So like her daughter, like she's skinny, like she's pretty, like whatever quote unquote that means. So I guess like in her head she was comparing my sister to like whatever her daughter is or whatever the standard is, or like whatever the standard is in her mind. So there is that comparison a lot, like it's always going on in people's minds. And like you said, there is two sides to this, and you just stop talking to people. But even if you do everything right, they will still comment on something.
Yep.
Like kala kyun pehna hai? Why are you wearing black? Like stuff like that.
Weird
Like
things,
I know it's like you can never win, honestly.
And I'm glad that you said you can never win, because it is kind of like a game.
Yeah.
And it's like and it's so sad that it's become second nature to us to kind of reflect all these weird it's actually snarky comments and weird things that are not your business. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that this collaboration of it in itself. Now, you guys have very similar careers now, but I come from a different background.
Yeah.
See, you guys come from a business background. I'm learning that side of things. And that's really cool to me to see that practicality side,
Right.
where she's like, no, like getting ready to me is only a check mark on a list of tasks that I have to get done in a day.
Right.
And for me, like the way that I see it in my scope is that like, and me getting ready is good for my self-care, right? But look, we can have a collaborative conversation about that.
Yes.
We cannot, in a Desi household and a dawah at a party, when people are having 4 different views, it doesn't work. It
Nope.
becomes a soap opera because people are arguing that I'm right,
Right.
meh. And all meh means in English is me. I'm right. The way that I raise my family is right. And heck, I raise my kids the way I raise my kids, not for my kids' sake, but because I'm worried about what people are going to say.
Right.
I'm
It
worried.
is.
Have you
Yeah.
noticed that people are raising their kids because, well, not because, they're raising their kids in a way that is like, okay, this is the frame, this is the picture that I'm painting, and this is how everyone should see it. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, you don't know what's happening.
No.
You don't know how much emotional hurt is happening. You don't know. You have no idea the way that maybe, and the problem is they think that they're right, so it becomes like this barrier. You become really closed-minded.
Yeah.
raising kids, or the way that you cook. Maybe there's a better way on YouTube. No, but this is my 1,000-year-old like stubborn thing.
Recipe.
Yeah, but look, you're giving people heart disease because of all the fat you're using. No, I don't want to change. Like, be open to change, be open-minded. I promise you, your life will get better if you only decide to listen. Up until this day, I thought me getting ready in the morning was like the best thing ever. And you know what? I still think it is. But the fact that I can take in like a sponge what Kinza is saying about her perspective about it,
Right.
it makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
Because look, now I'm getting another view on it.
Right.
Same thing with all these other people should be doing too.
See, like you use words like others, a different view or stuff like that. I don't think that necessarily people like the Desi community can comprehend those kind of words. Like, I think that the idea of everybody being on a different level and stage in their life, nobody gets that in our community.
I'm gonna get a neck tattoo in like Urdu or Arabic, and it's gonna say perspective. And I want everyone to read it every time they think about anything.
Right.
How many years it took you to graduate, or what your GPA is,
Right.
or why don't you have a career yet? NYOB, first of all, none of your business. And second of all, what are you comparing to? Because the only thing I'm comparing to is who I was yesterday.
Exactly.
Not to your boundaries.
Yeah.
Because this is your expectations. If you think about this, I just want to touch on that adulthood drama for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like after you hit a certain age, you're an advice guru, right?
Yeah.
Like like now that you have those mooch, now that you have that mustache, you can give out advice. You can spit those bars.
Yeah.
Like, do this, do that because it worked for me. Well, it's not necessary that's gonna work for everyone. And first of all, uncle, you haven't stopped growing.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that we have noticed around us, me and my sister, I think I can speak for her, that actually the adults around us are more messed up than we are. The adults around us have more problems, more insecurities, more emotional
baggage
than the young adults around us. That's all I have to say.
Think about how many unresolved issues you get when you don't want to even touch upon it. When you don't want to hear it. Then look how defensive people get. And I always talk about this. If you bring up anger management, how to raise your kids.
Oh no.
If you're wearing too bougie clothes and then you complain about being in debt, that one's huge.
Yeah.
You complain about finances, yet you're not taking anyone's advice on buying that new what's a bougie car? Like Audi that you bought. Why did you buy that?
Oh no, BMW. We're talking about brown people.
Oh my god, brown people always okay. That's a whole episode, BMW. Anyways, but yeah, why did you get that new BMW? And then they get so defensive.
Yeah.
You know why you're getting defensive? Because you have unresolved baggage.
Yeah.
And if anybody look, and I know like my major. Now this is me speaking, right? I'm not only my major. This is my personal frustration.
Right.
Now in my major, they say that whoever wants advice, they would come and get it. Whoever is an actual adult will seek help. But it's not true. Not everybody seeks help. And guess what that does? It ruins the people around you without you even noticing. Yes. And guess what? When you're reading about this stuff all day, and then you go into an environment where you see so much is wrong,
right.
Let me tell you, it does a number on you.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a paycheck, seeing someone's finances, and being a good accountant and being like, oh, wait, I can't say anything because they're going to get offended.
Right.
Even though you can help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take everything what you both said and kind of like draw a track from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because adults think that, younger kids or the generation growing up is like, silly or is learning or is not, their brains are not formed yet. They have no idea what they're talking about. What's hilarious is that this generation is in their learning ages. So they're constantly learning new things, new ways to, tackle the challenges in the world. More advanced, obviously, with the research and tech that we have every year than what you as an adult, and I'm doing my, quote marks, are at a stage now where you are doing the same thing every day. Your learning becomes more and more like leveled as you grow up because you're not going to school. You're not learning new things every day. If you are making an effort to keep up with, the news and the times. And I'm not just talking about getting on a, political segment every day in your head. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, are you keeping in touch with like what is politically correct that's happening, or what the new technology is coming out, or what like, new movement started, so it's funny because I almost feel like it should be the other way around. Adults should learn from kids because they're constantly learning new things. While as an adult, you have kind of like, unless you make an effort, you have, you're done with your learning for life. You're now using everything that you've learned in your first 25, 30 years, and now you're doing the same thing with it every day. So when an adult wants to come to me and try to advise me on like something that I should be doing, and I want to make a distinction here. Experience in a productive thing such as business or a career is something that gets better with age. And that I'm not afraid to go to my adults and learn from.
Good.
I have a board of directors in my head, and my dad is like, if I'm going to be a businesswoman, I know that the first person that I'm going to go to and ask for advice on is my dad, because he has experience of 30 plus years that I can learn from.
See?
And, not make the make mistakes that he did. So I don't have to waste that time.
And you know what's funny? Your dad doesn't use those 30 years of experience as fuel to belittle other people.
Exactly.
And that's what makes a difference. And that's why I'm going to change the word from the division between adults and younger people, because it's not just that, right? Let me tell you the learning ages, ready? That's really difficult. From 0 to whenever you pass away.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the learning ages, okay? It's not like some fixed thing.
No.
Human beings, ever since the caveman eras, have been built to adjust and adopt. Whether it be some catastrophic weather, like lava or a freaking hailstorm, we adjust. So the fact that people are stuck in their old ways of 1,000 years kind of doesn't make sense to human nature. We're built to change. So why don't we change the way we think? Why do we have to stay in this border? This is the way I'm going to get angry, and it'll always be the way I get angry. No, change it. This is the way I talk. And guess what? Beta, you can't change this person. I can't change this person, but this person can change themselves.
Yes.
And guess what? The minute that they do, that's the minute that their kids are going to change. And that's the minute that the people around them are going to change. And that's the minute their friends will stop leaving them.
Yes, yes.
You will make more friends the more that you're adaptive, open-minded, and honest.
Exactly.
I've made lasting friendships only because I was like, you know what? I'm going to stand up and apologize instead of being like, okay, I'm going to use this as fuel. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to create drama out of it. Oh my God, I'm not going to apologize to see how long it's going to take them to be ticked off.
Right.
This is all stuff that you both, I know for a fact, have experienced in the scope of friends and family. I know it. And you know what? Speaking of experience is the best teacher. But if you're not able to use that experience as an actual tool, then it's a waste.
Yes. And adults, please stop being offended if like you think that a certain person is not doing things your way.
Yeah.
I know this for a fact that like no adult means to be this way, but like adults, especially in our culture, they don't trust
Nope.
anybody that's younger than them. They don't trust. Like if I you know what, even if I passed out with a PhD in doing a certain thing and I did it, my ex-adult that does the complete opposite of what I do still wants to check what I just did.
Right.
Just to kind of like, I don't know, prove a point or just somehow like say.
That's a competition within itself, I feel like. They
Oh my
take
God,
it as
absolutely right.
Right? Like, who are you, 25 years younger than me, to tell me that you did this right, even though you have all the experience in the world.
Or forget, or within that topic itself, forget younger and older. It's also like two really, like two people of the same age.
Yeah.
And then they one up each other.
Yeah.
No, I have better advice. No, I have better advice.
Exactly, because that happens.
And then they don't have the same number of kids, which I find is really funny because it's like, that matters. You're not the same career. You're not the same age. Well, you're the same age. You don't have the same number of kids. You're not, one of you was once married, the other wasn't. Like, whatever the situation might be, they're always one-upping each other. No, in my experience, this is what happened. Right, but, well, it won't even be that appropriate. In my experience, this happened. That's like an educational conversation. It'd be like, no, but what I'm saying is this, Shagufta, is that this is how it is, and this is how it will be, like it was 500 years ago. 500.
It's too much stuff.
But like, you know what? Auntie Shawarma has her own perspective too. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone has their own perspective, but this is one thing that has to be the truest thing ever, and that's there are multiple ways to reach the truth.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own truth, and stop using things like politics and religion to prove that you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, if we eliminate the competition and learn from other people's experiences, I think we will get somewhere.
Absolutely. I need that on a shirt.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Maybe we should print like 100 out and give it to our adults.
Yeah, just
For free.
No, just do the thing where you have it in a cardboard. Oops, and you drop it on campus, and it's just all over the place.
More
Campus,
like, I'll
drop it in
get a
the living room.
t-shirt gun and
Yeah.
shoot it in the face.
I've always wanted one of those.
Those are
I've
cool.
always wanted one
It's
of those.
time to invest in one now.
Oh, listen, my son has t-shirt gun while your daughter doesn't. Who's better?
Obviously, your son.
Who's better? I am better.
Are you serious? We're just gonna get a bigger one.
No, it's okay. I'll buy the Louis version.
Oh, brands.
You see, and then this actually makes apologizing to someone as insulting to oneself.
Right.
What you said
It's
before.
about ego.
It's about ego. It's about like the fact that if I, somehow if I'm the one to say sorry, that means I've given up. I've admitted defeat. I've conceded.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is awful because that is exactly how family ties get broken. This is exactly how your generations get messed up. This is exactly why like they have this is like Romeo and Juliet, right? Like they have no idea what they're fighting about, and yet like they keep fighting and killing
Yes,
each
both
other.
their lives end. Honestly, I think we forget about how finite life is, and we create
Yeah.
like these little problems, and we're like, "Oh no, it's okay. They're only arguing. They're only fighting." Yeah, but you've wasted yet another party on useless BS.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows who's gonna be here tomorrow? We don't know. So might as
Yeah.
well live. Live in a way that one, you're sharing your perspective, one, you're learning from other people, and two, you're enjoying it. You're not being petty about these little things. Repeated outfits, brand names, and
Right.
who has a bigger house? Oh, they have 4 bathrooms in their house. And believe me, I've heard this before. People arguing about how many bathrooms they have in their house.
Oh, yeah.
It is very
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Bathrooms and bedrooms.
Yeah.
Not
How
even
many
just
cars do you have in your driveway that you don't use?
not even just the amount of these bathrooms and bedrooms, but also the size.
The size, like
The size itself.
हमारे पास तो 80 square foot है. Who's measuring, bro? I don't even know if that's a real number.
80 square foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Get outta
but
here
like,
with that.
like you said before, these are not, I don't see these a lot in like our generation happening.
Thank God.
Yeah, because we have kind of not all, because kids do learn from their adults, but
Thank you for saying that.
yeah, not all, but we have started
PSA,
to-
guys. If you reflect it, they're gonna learn it. So don't do it. Thank you,
Yes,
Mel.
please.
No, it's true.
But I have started a shift to see a shift coming, that people, the young adults, have started to step away from that like competition and stuff a little bit, maybe like 0.5% or something.
Well, listen, that's all we need, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change is slow, but
Yep.
it's coming.
And I will, having said all that, honestly, I will admit to something. Actually, is like, and you might think that, oh, hypocritical, Kinza, but what? But no, this is all about, I guess, like making yourself better, right? I'm gonna compare myself to who I was yesterday. My youngest sister, I am personally invested in everybody's growth around me. I love that. So, if I take it personally, if I think that something is not being done right, I will like take out the time to just point it out and say, no, you have to do this. All right. Because the end result doesn't matter to me, but it does. So I have told my youngest sister, who's about to apply to all these colleges next year, that, think about this, think about that, obviously, and then just like kind of asking her. And I honestly think that this is where our cultural like Desi mindset of a drama, or like at least some sort of like notion of it, comes in.
Mhm.
And I've been asking like, do you know like what ex cousin is applying to? And I'm like,
Let them.
and then but not in a way that I'm like confronting my sister or anything.
Ah, okay.
But like saying that, do you know, or like keeping that check of like do you know what's happening? Do you know
Yeah.
what's happening? And I checked myself actually for that. I checked it like
Yeah.
myself like
I've done that too.
2 months ago or something, when like we had started talking about this. I told her like, look, I'm sorry if I said that. I didn't want to put in your brain like, that somehow you're being compared to anybody. You do what you gotta do to make sure that you become the person that you are.
Right.
So I'm sorry for that. So I think that it's those things. Minaha was saying that, the shift within our generation. I think that it has been so ingrained in our brains from our parents and our grandparents. Like, it is impossible to escape that. But we have to. These will be the small moments. The where we realize that, okay, checking ourselves here and kind of correcting the situation,
Right.
Is so key, because that's how we will make and cement
That's
that
bringing
change.
about change.
And you know what? Like, it takes years. It's years and years of this conditioning that you were talking about from like parents, grandparents. The thing is, like, it only takes one to kind of break the cycle. And I'm very guilty for also doing that to like my younger cousins who are in high school. I'm like, no, you need to decide, like trying to pressure them. It's because I know the horrors of life. Like, I know that, time goes really quickly. And I know that our parents also don't wish us bad. They're kind of just looking out for us. But the thing is, when it doesn't come from your parents and it becomes like a drama and it becomes jealousy and comparison, that's when the balance and the line is crossed. Like, to keep it equilibrium, to keep it balanced, you have to sort of guide people in a way that they're good in their own shells, like in their own shoes, in their own clothes. Like, how are they going to be well in their own chadar or kambal, right? In their own blankets. Like, how are they going to thrive? How is Taha going to thrive in Taha's mindset and space and character?
Right.
This is how we should grow. So like one of my cousins, he wants to go into hospitality, like hotel hospitality, and like one of our aunts is like, oh, you want to clean bathrooms? I'm like, are you okay? First of all, the people who do clean bathrooms, they have the hardest job, and they're doing us all a favor. Janitors are
I agree.
the most underrated like careers ever, right? And and some people might even say it's not a career, it's a job. Like, no, like, listen, he's putting bread on the table, and maybe that was his goal. Maybe his goal wasn't to clean the bathroom, but his goal was to put bread on the table.
Right.
It's a career. But by all intents and purposes, it's a career. So, no, I told him, like, you want to go into hotel hospitality? You think you're good at being that, being welcoming and you have that character, which he does, then go into it. I will help in convincing your parents.
That's
nice. And these are the steps that we need to take for each other.
And not putting anybody down.
Yeah, not being like, your parents suck. I'm never seeing them again. मुझसे बात नहीं करना 5 साल के बाद. मुझे उसका नाम नहीं सुनना. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to say their name. No, like, everything has a balance. Like, if I did that, if I were to explode like that, I would just I wouldn't be the change I wish to see. I would be what I don't like to be.
Yeah.
I would become the quote unquote enemy, for lack of a better word. I don't know, not enemy, but like, you know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah. Put a stop to the drama.
Honestly.
Slow it down at least.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good goal for this decade.
Oh, you know what? New t-shirt or new merch idea would be slow down the drama.
Yeah.
And then just have that like in big font.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't mind me while I write this down.
Yeah, awesome. So, Manali, you have anything to add?
Nope. Just that I don't think we have time for all of this drama. People's lives are literally ticking by, especially adults cough.
Yeah. We don't have time for drama. That's so true.
Please start enjoying your life and stop comparing what you have or don't have or what somebody else is doing.
Absolutely.
And just mind your own business and be happy for everybody.
Be happy for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Refrain from the drama. Refrain from these soap operas. Compare to who you were yesterday. And honestly, just live.
Yeah.
And don't make other people's lives entertainment.
Right.
Yeah.
Because trust me, no one cares about your Gucci bag. In the end, no one cares.
Absolutely.
No
and
one's
also,
looking.
when you're doing things, don't do it for other people. Because
Yeah.
we're so worried about look kya kahenge. We're so worried about drama. We're so worried about jealousy that we tend to just do things and we're not doing it because we love the thing. We're doing it because we're worried about how others will perceive it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone has their own perspective. There are multiple truths. And you know what? I love this episode because it really did relax me a little bit from the things that I've been experiencing lately.
I completely agree. And at the risk of sounding like Marie Kondo, which like I've not seen, but like she does ask one question I've heard, and I could not escape obviously the Instagram campaigns that were happening.
Tell us.
Is that, does this bring you joy? Ask that to yourself. Like the action that I'm trying to, do right now, the bag that I'm trying to buy, the degree that I'm trying to complete, the job I'm trying to get, the thing that I'm trying to build, is this bringing me joy? Am I doing this for the right reasons, or am I doing it because my parents have this expectation of me because I want to, because log kya kahenge? What are
Right.
people gonna think if I fail? People in Pakistan are so afraid to fail. I had a friend,
That's so true.
we've become defensive. We have destroyed careers of people and the potential of people's careers because we've told them that, like, no, you must not tell anybody your plans. You will absolutely not share your framework that you've set to achieve X grade in a exam or something, because other people are gonna take it and cheat and all that stuff. From going from like a collaborative environment, we've gone to a toxic, like, every man for his own kind of
Telling people it's not gonna
mindset.
work.
Yeah.
Telling people it's not going
Because
to
you never know who
work.
can like help you if you just keep your plans from everybody, which, by the way, I believe you should, because you never know what somebody else's
intentions are.
intentions in for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But if you also don't tell your plans to someone, like, you don't know who can help you in the end.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely true. But the thing is, when I'm surrounded by people like you guys, or people who are forward thinkers or open minded, I like to share my plans because I know you guys wish well upon it.
Yes.
Right.
You're not gonna compare to. You're not gonna be jealous of it. You're just gonna be like, you know what? I'm happy for him. I'm happy
Right.
for her.
Right.
Exactly.
And being happy for other people
Yeah.
is what brings me joy.
Yeah.
Right.
But if bringing pain to other people brings you joy, then I'm sorry, you must see one of our professionals for help.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Because
Yeah.
then you actually have a problem. And I believe that a lot of people in our community have
They gain
prob-
joy.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there's drama. Oh, bring me the tea because I
Yeah.
want to sip
Yeah.
on it. Why are you? I mean, not literal tea for anyone who doesn't get the reference. It's just a meme. But like for people who enjoy other people's pain or drama,
Yeah.
just enjoy something else.
That's
Yeah.
psychotic.
That's
actually.
psychotic. Get a hobby.
Yes.
Get a hobby.
Yeah.
Honestly, because that's not a hobby.
Yeah.
And for the adults, please start helping your kids rather than
Pressuring them.
rather than pressuring them and into figuring out everything themselves. I'll share a small example with you. A couple of years ago, I started a project, and it was a very specific project actually to Pakistan, and it was all about its art and design. And I reached out to about a good 150 people. This included mostly adults. And I remember there were a couple of adults, and there were definitely people from like even my age that I reached out to, and they were very helpful. There was this one specific guy who was my, dad, one of my dad's friends. And this guy's a well-known guy for the field that I was reaching out to him for. And just as, I guess, connection alone, if you see, includes like 2,000, 3,000 people who are also related to the field that I was reaching him out to for. And, he just shot my ideas down and he said, beta, it's just so hard. It is so hard to like get the thing that you are saying from like, Pakistani people. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And this guy's just shooting my dreams down. And I'm like, you guys know me, and like one person's gonna stop. Fast forward to last year, which is 2019. Guess
Or like
who
just
has
4 months ago.
yeah.
Sorry.
Guess
Which is
which
shocker.
guess which uncle has a very similar idea.
if not the same exact idea.
They stole it? Because that happens, right?
Yeah.
In our culture. Like I think that's one of the good reasons why we should hide our like ideas and
Yeah.
successes, because people will steal it.
Right.
I'm so sorry, Kenza.
Yeah. So he
I'm
was
so
actually
sorry.
competing with
Yeah.
somebody freaking
Competing, freaking thief.
35 years younger than him, and then literally went ahead to steal that idea, which, by the way, might I add, is completely flopping right now. It does not work, and it's ugly. Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there. I've onwards and upwards and onwards and upwards. But I think that once everybody starts to realize, but what happens? Like I'm not discouraged by it, but there might be a person who's not very sure of their self-worth yet, like I am, that might just get discouraged for life.
And not do anything.
Yeah,
again.
I mean, I know that I will have a million more ideas in my head. And maybe this guy didn't, and he, could only depend on the one that I had. But, be sure of yourself. Know that what your self-worth is, nobody can duplicate. And so stop running after what you think is, is supposed to be your self-worth. And adults, please, like, instead of thinking of us as like, people who don't know what we're doing or, are still learning or whatever.
You're always learning.
You're always
Even
learning.
the adult is learning.
Exactly. Help us instead.
Encourage your own kids, encourage other people's kids, and do it for the kids. Don't do it because of what other people are going to think about you, because I've seen people like literally raise kids because they're worried about their parenting style is going to get judged, so we need to, no, we can't do this. Because if they don't become a doctor, they're going to say that we're bad parents. So it's not about the kid then, it's about you, huh?
Right.
You know what I mean? Encourage other people and don't make it about yourself in a sense that it's an ego problem. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I mean, this was something that was really near and dear to us. But yeah, I hope that all of our listeners got something out of this. I mean, really, we try to shine light on things that aren't really spoken about, and this was one of the big ones that's like kind of second nature to us now in terms of avoiding the topic. So it's nice to just bring it to the forefront.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. This was awesome as always.
All right. Well,
signing off.
So
have a good week.
Have a good week.
And remember, don't worry about
lo kya kahenge.